I never thought I'd be writing this, but here I am, feeling completely lost and betrayed. My fiancée Georgia, 24F, and I, 25M, have been together for 4 years, engaged for the last 6 months. We met during our sophomore year of college at a mutual friend's party. I remember being instantly drawn to her infectious laugh and the way her eyes lit up when she talked about her passion for nursing. We hit it off that night, talking for hours about everything from our favorite books to our dreams for the future. Our relationship progressed quickly after that. We started dating exclusively within a month, and things just felt right. Georgia was smart, funny, and caring, everything I'd been looking for in a partner. We supported each other through the stress of exams, celebrated our achievements together, and slowly built a life as a couple. After graduation, we both landed jobs in our hometown. I started working in IT for a local company, while Georgia began her nursing career at the city hospital. We moved in together, renting a cozy apartment near the hospital to make Georgia's often unpredictable schedule easier to manage. I thought we were on the same page about our future. We often talked about marriage, kids, and growing old together. Last year, on our 4-year anniversary, I proposed. I had it all planned out, a romantic picnic on the beach where we had our first date, followed by a surprise party with all our friends and family. When I got down on one knee and asked Georgia to marry me, her eyes filled with tears and she said yes without hesitation. It was one of the happiest moments of my life. We dove into wedding planning, setting a date for next summer. Georgia seemed excited about every detail, from choosing her dress to picking out floral arrangements. We even started looking at houses, dreaming about where we'd start our family. But now, everything I thought I knew about our relationship has been turned upside down. It all started last week when I borrowed Georgia's iPad to look up a recipe while she was at work. When I opened Safari, I saw that she had left her Facebook messages open. I know I shouldn't have looked, but a name I didn't recognize caught my eye, Billy. As I scrolled through, my heart sank. Billy, 26M, was Georgia's ex-boyfriend from high school. They dated for 2 years before breaking up when Georgia left for college. According to the messages, they'd been in contact for the past 3 months, texting almost daily. The messages weren't explicitly romantic, but there was definitely flirting and inside jokes. Georgia was sending him selfies from work, talking about shows they used to watch together, and reminiscing about their past. She even complained to him about some of my habits that annoy her, things she's never mentioned to me. What hurt the most was when Billy said I miss what we had and Georgia replied me too sometimes. Things were simpler back then. They made plans to meet up for coffee next week to catch up properly. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. How could Georgia do this? We were planning our wedding, for crying out loud. I always thought we had an open, honest relationship. We'd even talked about past partners before, and Georgia had said her relationship with Billy ended on good terms but they weren't in contact anymore. Was that a lie? When Georgia got home from her shift, I confronted her about the messages. At first, she tried to downplay it, saying Billy was just a friend and I was overreacting. But when I showed her the specific messages, she broke down crying. Through her tears, Georgia admitted she'd been feeling nostalgic and uncertain about our engagement. She said she loves me but isn't sure if she's ready for marriage. She claims she never meant for things with Billy to go this far, but talking to him made her question if she was really ready to settle down. I was blindsided. We've been talking about marriage for over a year and she seemed so excited when I proposed. Now she says she needs time to figure out what she wants. I asked her to cancel the coffee meetup with Billy, which she reluctantly agreed to. For the past week, things have been incredibly tense between us. Georgia says she wants to work things out, but I don't know if I can trust her anymore. She turned off notifications for Billy's messages, but I have no way of knowing if she's still texting him. I talked to my best friend Mike, 26M, about the situation. Mike and I have been friends since high school, and he's always been my go-to for advice. He thinks I should end things now before we get married and it becomes more complicated. He reminded me of how devastated I was when my college girlfriend cheated on me, and he's worried I'm setting myself up for even more heartbreak. But another friend, Tom, 27M, says all couples go through rough patches and we should try counseling. Tom and his wife went through something similar early in their marriage and came out stronger for it. He thinks if Georgia is willing to cut contact with Billy and work on our relationship, it's worth trying to save. I'm torn about what to do. Part of me wants to fight for our relationship. We've built a life together and I still love her. We have so many shared dreams and plans. Just last month, we were talking about starting a family within the next few years. Georgia would be an amazing mother, and I've always looked forward to raising kids with her. But I'm also furious that she betrayed my trust and lied to me for months. I can't stop thinking about what else she might be hiding. Every time she looks at her phone, I wonder if she's texting Billy. When she works late, I question if she's really at the hospital. We're supposed to put down deposits for our wedding venue and catering next month. I don't know whether to go ahead with it or put everything on hold. Georgia says she wants to stay engaged but needs more time to be sure about marriage. Part of me wonders if she's just trying to keep me as a backup option while she explores things with Billy. I'm worried that if I give her more time, she'll just keep talking to Billy behind my back. But if I end things now, am I throwing away a 4-year relationship over some text messages? I know she didn't physically cheat, but the emotional betrayal hurts just as much. To complicate things further, we just signed a new 1-year lease on our apartment last month. If we break up, neither of us can afford the rent alone. Most of the furniture is mine, but Georgia doesn't have anywhere else to go right now. Her parents live across the country, and I know she'd be devastated to leave her job at the hospital. I'm losing sleep over this and having trouble focusing at work. I keep replaying our happy moments in my head and wondering if they were all a lie. The way Georgia looked at me when I proposed, the nights we stayed up late planning our future, the support she gave me when I was struggling with work stress last year, was any of it real? Did she ever really want to marry me, or was I just a safe option while she pined for her ex? I love Georgia, and the thought of losing her is painful. But I also know I deserve someone who is sure about me, someone who wouldn't risk our relationship for an old flame. I'm scared of making the wrong choice and regretting it later, whether that's walking away from the love of my life or staying with someone who might always have one foot out the door. Any advice would be appreciated. Should I try to work things out with Georgia? Give her the time she's asking for? Or cut my losses now and move on? How do I even begin to trust her again if we do stay together? Update 1. It's been about 2 weeks since my last post, and I wanted to update you all on what's been happening. First, I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. Reading your comments gave me the courage to confront the situation head on. After my last post, I realized I needed more information before making any decisions. So I sat down with Georgia for a long, honest conversation. I told her I needed complete transparency if we were going to have any chance of moving forward. What I learned was both enlightening and heartbreaking. Georgia admitted that her feelings for Billy had never fully gone away. They dated for 2 years in high school, from sophomore to senior year. They were each other's first love, and Georgia always wondered what if they had tried to make it work long distance when she left for college. Georgia told me more about her history with Billy. They grew up in the same neighborhood and had been friends since elementary school. Their families were close, and they had always imagined ending up together. When they broke up before college, it was more about timing than any problems in their relationship. When Billy reached out on Facebook a few months ago, those old feelings resurfaced. At first, Georgia said she just enjoyed catching up with an old friend. But as they continued talking, she found herself looking forward to his messages and comparing our relationship to what she had with Billy. She swears nothing physical happened between them, but she confessed to meeting Billy for coffee once before I found out, not just planning to. They met at a cafe near the hospital after one of her shifts. Georgia said seeing Billy in person made her realize she wasn't ready for marriage yet and had doubts about our relationship. I asked to see all their messages, which she agreed to after some hesitation. Reading through them was even more painful than I expected. There was more flirting than I initially saw, and they reminisced a lot about their past relationship. Billy had even suggested they give things another try, though Georgia hadn't explicitly agreed. The worst part was finding messages to Georgia's best friend Zoe, 24F, where she expressed doubts about marrying me. She told Zoe she felt trapped and wondered if she was settling. She said she loved me, but wasn't sure if it was enough. That hurt more than anything with Billy. I also learned that Georgia had been having doubts about our relationship for a while, even before Billy reached out. She said the pressure of wedding planning and the reality of committing to forever had made her question if she was really ready. But instead of talking to me about it, she turned to her ex. After our conversation, I decided I needed some space to process everything. I packed a bag and went to stay with my brother for a few days. Being in our apartment, surrounded by wedding magazines and photos of us together, was just too painful. During that time, Georgia called and texted constantly, begging me to come home and work things out. She promised to cut off all contact with Billy and said she knew she wanted to be with me. She even suggested we start couples counseling to work through our issues. But being away gave me clarity. I realized I deserve someone who is sure about me, not someone who needs to explore old flames to figure out what they want. The trust is broken, and I'm not sure it can be repaired. When I returned home, I told Georgia I think we need to end our engagement. She cried and pleaded for another chance, saying she'd do anything to fix things. She said the time apart made her realize how much she loves me and wants a future together. But my mind is made up. I can't marry someone knowing they had such significant doubts and hid them from me. We're still figuring out the logistics of separating our lives. Neither of us can afford the apartment alone, so we're looking into breaking the lease early. Most of the furniture is mine, so Georgia is staying with Zoe while she looks for a new place. We're also in the process of canceling wedding vendors and returning gifts. It's been incredibly difficult. Some moments I want to take it all back and try to work things out. I miss the comfort of our routine, the way Georgia would bring me coffee in bed on her days off, the plans we had for our future. But then I remember the messages I read and know this is for the best long term. I'm focusing on myself now, throwing myself into work, hitting the gym more, and reconnecting with friends I'd neglected while planning the wedding. It hurts, but I know I'll be okay eventually. Thank you all again for helping me see things clearly. I'll update again once things are more settled. Update 2. It's been about a month since my last update, and I wanted to share some developments. Breaking up with Georgia has been one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I'm more convinced than ever that it was the right decision. We managed to break our lease without too much financial penalty. The landlord was surprisingly understanding when we explained the situation. It probably helped that we found new tenants to take over the lease quickly. Georgia moved in with her friend Zoe temporarily, and I'm staying in the apartment until the end of the month while I look for a new place. Dividing our belongings was tough. We'd accumulated so much stuff together over 4 years. In the end, I kept most of the furniture since it was technically mine. Georgia took the kitchenware and some decor items. There were a few arguments over sentimental things, like the painting we bought on our first vacation together, but we managed to sort it out civilly. The hardest part was canceling the wedding. We lost some deposits, but most vendors were accommodating once we explained what happened. Returning gifts and explaining to guests was humiliating, but necessary. My parents were especially disappointed. They had already put down a non-refundable deposit on the rehearsal dinner venue. I found out through mutual friends that Georgia started officially dating Billy about 2 weeks after we broke up. It stung to hear, but also confirmed I made the right choice. Clearly, her feelings for him were stronger than she let on. I can't help but wonder if something was going on between them even before I found the messages. On my end, I've been focusing on healing and personal growth. I started seeing a therapist to work through my trust issues from this experience. It's been helpful to have a neutral party to talk to about everything. I've also been hitting the gym regularly and picked up rock climbing as a new hobby. It's been a great way to challenge myself physically and mentally, and I've met some cool people at the climbing gym. Work has been a great distraction. I threw myself into a big project and it's paying off. My boss hinted at a possible promotion coming up. I'm also planning a solo trip to Europe next month to clear my head and gain some new perspectives. I've always wanted to backpack through Italy, and now seems like the perfect time to do it. Friends and family have been incredibly supportive. My brother lets me crash at his place whenever I need a change of scenery. And my college buddies have been great about getting me out of the house and keeping me distracted. We've been having weekly game nights, which has been a fun way to stay connected. I won't lie, there are still moments when I miss Georgia and our life together. Sometimes I'll catch myself thinking about texting her or wondering what she's up to. But those moments are getting fewer and further between. I'm starting to feel excited about the future and the possibilities ahead of me. To anyone going through something similar, stay strong. It gets better. Focus on yourself and remember that you deserve someone who chooses you unequivocally. Update 3, it's been 6 months since my original post, and I wanted to give a final update. Life has changed dramatically, mostly for the better. I'm fully moved into my new apartment across town. It's smaller than the place Georgia and I shared, but it feels good to have a fresh start. I've been enjoying decorating it to my taste, without having to compromise on anything. I adopted a dog from the local shelter, a 3-year-old lab mix named Max. He's been great company and gives me a reason to get out and be active every day. Work is going well. I got that promotion I mentioned in my last update, which came with a nice raise. I'm now leading my own team on a big project. It's challenging, but I'm enjoying the responsibility. I'm traveling more for the job, which I'm enjoying. It's a welcome distraction and chance to see new places. As for my personal life, I've started dating again. Nothing serious yet, but I've met some interesting people. I'm taking things slow and being upfront about my past. It's been refreshing to meet women who are excited about building a future together, unlike my experience with Georgia. I've had a few nice dates, but I'm not rushing into anything. Speaking of Georgia, I ran into her and Billy at a restaurant last month. It was awkward, but I managed to be polite. They seemed happy together. Surprisingly, I felt more relief than jealousy. It confirmed that ending things was the right call. I hope they're good for each other. The Europe trip I mentioned was amazing. I spent 3 weeks backpacking through Italy, France, and Spain. I visited Rome, Florence, Paris, Barcelona, and several smaller towns in between. It gave me time to reflect and heal. I came back feeling refreshed and ready for this new chapter of my life. I'm still in therapy, working through the trust issues from my experience with Georgia. It's been helpful in processing everything and preparing me for future relationships. I'm learning to balance caution with openness. To anyone who's been following my story, thank you for your support and advice. It meant more than you know during those difficult early days. If you're going through something similar, hang in there. Focus on yourself, lean on your support system, and know that better days are ahead. This will be my final update. I'm ready to close this chapter and move forward. Wishing you all the best in your own journeys.